Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world, nobody makes conservatism as funky as the exceptional one, and tonight we're going to make it very funky. Jeff Dunetz with us tonight, publisher of The Lid. Ladies and gentlemen, only Republicans can be anti-Semitic and racist. Forget about Keith Ellison, and we're going to talk all about that. Listen, we're not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation. First to the loyal Republicans, and then to the socialists. I am telling you, this is going to be... Thanksgiving week is going to be the hottest week in a long time on the... I mean, bigger than the election day coverage, I'm telling you. Thank you, Mary. Mary has complimented me. Mary's my bouncer. She's in the chat room at the Euro-Pacific Bank Limited TECS chat room at the Exceptional Conservative Show, the Broadcast Central area. Mary Brockman is my bouncer. If you diss her, you diss me, and you will be dismissed from our program. She says I'm dressed to the nines tonight, and I thought I wanted to kick this week off exceptionally well. I'm talking tonight. We got some big ones. Yes, of course, none other than Jeff Dunetz himself, publisher of The Lid. We're going to talk about racism. We're going to talk about anti-Semitism. Tomorrow night, Dr. Bill Warner is in the hizzy once more. We're going to talk about political Islam. And on Wednesday night, the night before Thanksgiving, that's why they call it Thanksgiving Eve, we will have none other than a very good friend of ours, well, a new friend to everyone on the Exceptional Conservative Show Network. It is the Reverend Donovan A. Larkins, pastor of Spirit of Life Christian Center, founder of Shekinah Ranch and the Shekinah Protecting Innocence Campaign. We will be talking about protecting our babies from human trafficking, and as well, prayers for Thanksgiving in America. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a huge week, and my friends, it don't get no bigger than this. New Day Black and Red will be live after the Redskins Cowboys game. Okay, so I'm just letting y'all know. Either I will despise the professor or he will despise me. It's going to happen during the show. So just be prepared. Oh, what a big week. I am so excited. So glad to be here. What a month we've had. Martha Reeves has been in the hizzy. Oh my goodness. The election night coverage and something. Oh man. Wow. What a way. What a way. And I want y'all to do me a great favor, ladies and gentlemen, since you all are covering this and following this, and you all know how we set the evening off. I want y'all to circle Monday, December 12th on your calendars. Monday, December 12th. I got some big news coming up for you. And such big news that even Sean is excited by it. Sean from Sackheads Radio. And then we want to thank the good people from Sackheads Radio and High Plains Pundit Media for covering us live tonight. And also at 2 a.m. on the Liberty Channel, Red Nation Rising. Want to thank you all for tuning in and listening to the best, most influential urban conservative talk show in the world. But I want y'all to circle December 12th because that's a big night and a big morning. Well, actually, it's a big morning and a big afternoon. We got some big news, and I'm going to give it to you at the end of this interview with one of the great media personalities in America, none other than Jeff Dunetz. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. It is a huge, huge announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how we roll. take your right hand, you put it over your heart, and if you're watching us via live stream, you can see the huge flag on the wall. If you're watching us from Ustream, you can see the little flags behind me. However way you're watching us, and I recommend highly that you put a flag in your own room so that you don't have to look at mine. I want you to put your right hand over your heart, and this handy dandy, oh yeah, there we go. This handy dandy pillar or plat I have handy for you. It is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I want you all to repeat it with the young people as they lead us. Go right ahead, kiddies.
Parents, ready, begin. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Woo! There you go. That's how you know you're going to have good kids, when they can actually say that and spell the words too. Ladies and gentlemen, without a single doubt, it is a great honor and privilege to have the publisher of The Lid on the air with us. He is beloved by the SHR community and by the Exceptional Conservative Network community. None other than Jeff Dunetz, publisher of The Lid. Good evening, sir. It's a great privilege to have you on the air with us tonight.
It's actually a privilege to be on with you today, Ken. Hey, listen, you were talking about your biggins before. It was my teeth where I had implants, so they're not biggins anymore. Oh, did you warn your audience that I'm about a little crazy?
Ladies and gentlemen, serious journalism will take place right before your very eyes. No, we're going to have a good time tonight. It is Thanksgiving weekend or week, or however, if you're taking the week off, relax. It's good to have Melanie Collette in the chat roll tonight, the only woman in America who still gets carded at her grand age. Well, she's not really grand, but so glad to have you here. Mary Brockman, also Claudia's in the chat room. It's filling up as we go along. Jeff, one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on the program is because you're very popular. And apparently all the ladies love you because they're all coming in the chat. But there's been a lot of crap going on.
Blind ladies.
Single file right behind one another. They can't get lost. There's been a lot of propaganda going around by the left. Firstly, with all of the itinerant protesters moving from place to place. Apparently, they have not accepted the results of the election.
Yes.
And on top of that, the defilement of Mike Pence at Hamilton over the weekend, that's all just coinciding with the idealism that Donald J. Trump is the worst racist elected to the presidency since Woodrow Wilson. And quite frankly, we're moving back in time. And to show that, we have Steve Bannon. So with all that, I wanted to talk with you tonight, sir, about the concept of racism and anti-Semitism in America, being that
Actually, Roosevelt was a racist and anti-Semite.
Yeah.
Obama's, I don't know if you can classify him as a racist, but he's an anti-Semite.
You can't classify him as a racist because he's black. Black people are not racist.
According to Media Matters, I'm an anti-Semite, so I'm not kidding.
Just that is preposterous. Just as preposterous as black people can't be racist. But first and foremost, we got a series of things I really want to talk with you about.
Okay.
I want to start with the whole concept that the left is not satisfied with the election results, and they feel that they have the right to start a revolution in America. Your thoughts on that?
I think, the college ones come from a different place. The college ones, the ones coming in college, are really, it's the everybody gets a trophy generation that never learned how to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And they're used to being, even in college, to have safe spaces and places where, they can hide because they always get their way. I think it's more their parents' fault than the kids' fault. I mean, my kids learned that, sometimes you're going to lose. That's the way life is. Matter of fact, lullabies to kids. When my kid cried, I didn't sing them a lullaby. I sang them a Rolling Stone song. This is the truth. You can't always get what you want.
Yeah.
Because you can't always get what you want.
But is it really that they can't get what they want? Or is it just deeper than that, that somehow the ideology was rejected? It's kind of like you walk up to the prettiest woman in the room because you think you have a chance, and she rolls her eyes and turns to her girlfriends there and starts laughing at you. That kind of is it rejection that they hate so much?
I think that's part of it. I also think that anytime they've complained, they've gotten what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the adults, the Democrats on the other side, the adult Democrats, they did that when Bush won.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Yeah.
I had friends that were liberals that haven't talked to me since the Supreme Court decision that defining the Florida recount vote, which ended up with Bush winning. I swear, that was 16 years ago.
Wow! The whole concept here is that you're supposed to accept the fact that elections have consequences, and you've been repudiated, you've been rejected, and
but even Obama refuses to say he's been rejected.
Yeah.
Americans didn't understand, or hey, look at his approval ratings.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I like to point to, and I keep pointing to this, January 23rd, 2009. That was the day that Eric Cantor went to the White House to offer some suggestions about the stimulus plan because he wanted to find compromise that everyone would like.
Mm-hmm.
And Obama said to him, you don't understand, I won. Elections have their consequences. That was what set off the whole Democrats versus Republican during the Obama administration. Not anything that the Republicans did. Obama said, we won. Hey, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. Well, shouldn't they be willing to accept their words coming back to them? I mean...
No.
You win, you lose. It happens.
Oh, that only works with Democrats. We're liberals. Come on, Ken. Didn't you learn that stuff?
I thought I did, but apparently I didn't. Oh my goodness. We're talking tonight with Jeffrey Dunetz.
Here's the fun part. When Trump announces his Supreme Court justice,
mm-hmm.
and the Democrats start filibustering,
yep.
Remember that Harry Reid made it that you can't filibuster Supreme Court picks.
Yep.
Oops. What goes around comes around.
It sucks to be you.
Yeah, it really does. Karma bites him in the butt. It's wonderful.
But do you trust that the Republicans will not switch that ruling? I mean...
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because Mitch McConnell knows the importance of this Supreme Court pick.
Mm-hmm.
And that many people voted for Trump based on the Supreme Court pick. And if he doesn't do what Harry Reid did, it's going to just start the same thing all over again. Start the hatred of the government.
Yeah.
He knows he has to do it with that. And I'll tell you another thing.
Mm-hmm.
When they do remove Obamacare, they're going to do it via reconciliation, the same way they got passed. It got passed.
Wow.
And it's got to be.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that the Republicans has thrown at them over the last 8 years, they're going to throw it right back. They have to.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Jeffrey Dunetz. The Lid is the site that you need to be reading. If it's not in your Bouncer platform, better known as your bookmark, I recommend that you put it there. And we're talking about some of the issues resulting from this election period. That now,
that's another thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can end the war with ISIS in 10 minutes.
How can you end the war with
On one side of the ISIS territory, you put a TV camera.
Okay.
On the other side, you put Chuck Schumer. If you're get between Chuck Schumer and a camera, you're dead. Although that might be a war crime.
It might be. Oh my God! I want to talk with you regarding the situation and continuance of this faux protestations by the left, which are really just violent attempts to overthrow the government, in my personal opinion. The Mike Pence visit over the weekend to the Broadway play Hamilton, and apparently there was a member of the U.S. Senate who went to the floor there that night to lecture from the stage. Apparently, he had been elected U.S. Senator of the Broadway stage and had been selected to give a speech against, I guess not against, but an encouragement for Mike Pence and the rest of the racists to come on board and protect the lowly minorities who represented everyone on that stage that night.
You know, people say that at least they spoke to him respectfully. No, they didn't. Before he started talking to Pence, he told everybody, take out your cell phones and record this so you could put it all around the internet. They did it to try to embarrass Pence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
But Pence, being the gentleman that he is, they couldn't embarrass him.
Exactly.
You know, I used to be a stage actor. This isn't a joke. This is the God's honest truth.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't do that. You don't embarrass your audience. You don't put your audience in an uncomfortable position.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if anything, they should have, if they really wanted to talk to Pence, they should have asked them to come backstage.
Exactly. See, now that's what I was thinking as well. I mean, and knowing Mike Pence, he would have done it. Governor Pence and his family would have done it. That would have been the place to do that. But what was the intent? What was the intent of those actors on that stage that night? Were they really thinking about the freedom and liberty of this country and representing the people? What was their thinking?
Their thinking was they want to embarrass the Trump administration. That's why they had everybody make the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Pull out your cameras, take movies, and post it on the internet. That's what they said.
Now, I was watching some of the daytime commentators today, and they understood the actors. It was a grand expression of liberality. It was an immense call to unity. Can't you see that? A former actor? Can't you see the unity he was reaching for?
Well, the other part is that the mainstream media promoted Trump as such an ogre. such a, I hate everybody. You know, I love the ones, what was his name, from Milbank. Okay, David Milbank from the Washington Post. He started out, during the primary season, he made a big thing that Ted Cruz was an anti-Semite.
Yeah.
Now, Ted Cruz has been booed off stages because he told people that they should be supporting Israel and the Jews. Ted Cruz is not anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
But now that Dana Milbank, excuse me, now that he doesn't have Ted Cruz to beat up anymore, he says that Trump is an anti-Semite. Now, Trump's daughter is an Orthodox Jew, as well as his son-in-law, who's like one of his close advisors, as well as their 3 grandchildren.
Exactly.
Donald Trump Jr.'s wife is Jewish, which means that all their children, by Jewish law, are Jewish. So what they're saying is Donald Trump hates his grandchildren. But that's what they're saying. Which is stupid.
It is! Which is the antithesis of what Hillary Rodham Clinton said during the debate. That the greatest thing about Mr. Trump is that he loves his family and that his kids are great.
Well, also, you have to understand something. Hillary Clinton is, except for the 8-year period where she ran for New York Senator and ran for a second term, except for that period, she's always been anti-Israel and anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Except for the time she needed the Jewish vote. So if you're going to call anyone an anti-Semite, it would be Hillary. Exactly.
And that's where I want to go with you at this point.
Are you an anti-Semite? I don't understand.
Well, you know I am.
You like Jews.
Just like you're a racist, man. We've had our discussions. Listen, I love Jeff. Jeff is beloved amongst the SHR family with BZ and all the rest of us, and conversations with Sean, and we have family discussions via Facebook. Dave Milner in the chat room tonight, the Unpleasant Blind Guy part of it. And we just have the greatest times talking to one another about the silliness of the Democrats at this point, who are lying prostrate on the floor, crying and whining and complaining that they've been rejected, repudiated by society, and they're acting as miscreants at every opportunity. And one of their greatest faux pas, I believe, in American history, if it happens before Christmas, will be the election of Keith Ellison, congressman from Minneapolis, Minnesota, to the height of head of the Democrat National Committee. First and foremost, Jeff, is there no one left in the Democrat Party for the job?
No. Well, yes, but they don't want it. I mean, Howard Dean wants it. But what are you going to do? Nobody wants Howard Dean. You look at all the people that came out and supported him. You got Chuck Schumer, who is the majority leader in the Senate. You have President Obama. You have Pocahontas. You have who else? And Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
So, I mean, he has the support of all the leadership, so why bother fighting it?
Now, Keith Ellison is a very good friend of yours.
Right.
And I heard that you've invited him to synagogue this week.
Keith Ellison is not only tied to Louis Farrakhan.
Yes.
He's tied to the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yes.
He's anti-Semitic. He's made anti-Semitic statements, and he's also anti-Israel. Now, but you got to understand something. the Democratic Party has been moving that way since 2011. In 2011, the Center for American Progress, which was run at the time by John Podesta, who was Hillary's campaign chairman this time, said that the Democrats should move and become the anti-Israel party.
Wow.
Okay, that was reported by Politico. So this isn't, one of those false tweets or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, do you remember the big story broken by me in 2012 that they took Jerusalem out of the Democratic plank?
Yes. Yes, they did. Mm-hmm.
Here's a real story. They took out 4 pro-Israel planks. They took out, we won't negotiate with Hamas until they renounce terrorism and recognize Israel. They took out that Israel will not have to, it's wrong to make Israel return completely to the 67 of the 1949 armistice lines. And they took out, and this is the big one,
mm-hmm.
that when the refugees return, they will return to the Palestinian state.
Wow!
Because what the Palestinians want to do, they want their refugees to go to Israel, which would, and Israel being a democracy, it would turn Israel into an Arab state. So basically, they took out the provision that would prevent that, and they were never put back. And even when the Jerusalem owners put back, I don't know if you remember the videos, but they were all booing.
Yes, they were!
It passed, and they said it passed. Okay, so Ellison is part of that movement, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, before he hit Congress, he actually made some speeches that supported Farrakhan and said that Farrakhan's statements like Judaism is a gutter religion, etc., were not anti-Semitic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what he did. And actually, when he ran for Congress, Scott Johnson of Powerline wrote a great column explaining his history of anti-Semitism. He actually even went to support somebody who was, there was a hearing about her because she said that Jews are the most racist white people I know.
Oh,
and what Ellison said was, where is this? He said that basically it's absolutely true that Jews are the most racist people.
Oh. Which
is, I actually always thought that Italians were, but since he was elected to Congress, he actually convinced 53 other Democratic members of Congress to create a letter to President Obama falsely accusing Israel of humiliating and wreaking collective punishment on Gaza residents. Now, what people don't get about the embargo around Gaza is it's only on things like construction supplies and things like that. Things that could be used to make tunnels.
Yeah.
And things like that. And there's a really easy way to end the blockade. Say, we no longer want to destroy Israel. We no longer want to do terrorism. If they did that, it'd be over. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You remember Iron Dome, the missile defense system?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Ellison was one of only 8 members of Congress to vote against it. Now, when you think about it, during the Obama 2 terms in Congress, have you ever seen a lot of votes that were 395 for, only 8 against?
Oh.
I mean, in a divisive year, in a divisive 8 years, this was bipartisan, and Ellison was one of the idiots that voted against it. And it was a defense system. all it did, if you remember, the war that ended in 2008 was started because over a couple of year period, Hamas launched over 50,000 rockets at Israel.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay? And Iron Dome was there to stop it. That's it. And then, you know, I know this is something that you're very aware of. You know, he's associated with Muslim Brotherhood groups such as MAS, CARE, and ISNA.
Now, I want you to do me a favor, Jeff. I want you to do me a favor because I have a lot of down low listeners from the Washington metropolitan area. One of my largest group, because you know it's not conservative here in D.C., but one of the largest group of listeners are in Washington, D.C. to this show. They listen to everything that I say, and they try to find something to use it against me. They haven't been able to in 6 years. Can you explain to these people what the relationship is between Congressman Keith Ellison, Hamas, Muslim Brotherhood, and CARE?
Well, let me start off with Hamas, CARE, ISNA, and MAS, and the Muslim Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. Okay? If you remember the Holy Land Trial, which was in Texas, where members of CARE, excuse me, I don't remember what group it was. I think it was CARE. Were convicted of working with Hamas, basically sending money to Hamas.
Yeah.
Okay. The Justice Department, made a list of unindicted co-conspirators. Amongst them were MAS, CARE, and ISNA. As a matter of fact, the FBI sent to Congress a letter that said, you know, I know you use CARE as your everyday Muslims to bring in, but you shouldn't because they're associated with terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
So that is establishing their connection with the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas. The Muslim Brotherhood, of course, is the parent organization of Hamas, and it was also the parent organization of the MAS, etc., mm-hmm. and CARE.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
there you go. Mm-hmm.
Now, when Ellison ran for Congress, a big chunk, like $20,000 worth of his campaign donations came from CARE. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. And also, Congressman Ellison has repeatedly supported CARE on the floor of Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And he's actually, when the founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, which is actually a moderate Muslim group, which fights against terrorism.
Yep.
When he came out against the Muslim Brotherhood and against CARE because of their association with terrorists, basically Keith Ellison called him the equivalent of an Uncle Tom. Actually, what he called him was an Islamic Uncle Tom. Okay. He said that he's familiar with people who would seek to ingratiate themselves with the powerful people in the white community and would their turn on the rest of us and give license to attack us all. Basically what he's saying is by going against the terrorists, you're helping the white people attack Muslims. That is a direct quote. That's not the basically part, but
mm-hmm.
That's a direct quote of what Ellison has said. Okay?
Yeah.
He also gets involved with a lot of the anti-Israel organizations that are like that, including the what's called Progressive Palestinians for Peace, which is the PPP, I guess.
Yes, they do it rapidly.
I guess so. When you have too many beers, you go there. The Americans Friend Committee, which runs a BDS boot camp. He also works with the Jewish Voice for Peace, which was named as by the Anti-Defamation League as one of the 10 most anti-Israel groups in America. And being a fellow Jew, I'm sure their mothers are very proud of them.
Very. My goodness.
You know? So I mean, just look at what this guy has done.
It's simply amazing the fact that he did cover up the fact that he received $13,000 in support from the Muslim Brotherhood for an election. And in addition to that, even had representatives of the Muslim Brotherhood visit him at the U.S. Capitol.
Yes.
This man is a friend to terrorists because the Muslim Brotherhood is considered a terrorist organization even in Canada. So I don't know how the Democrat Party could possibly, in an age where they're accusing Mike Pence and Donald J. Trump of being racist and anti-Semitic, Mike Pence visiting a cast on Broadway that has very few, if any, white people in the cast, and in addition to that, put out a note that they were looking for non-white people to be in the cast as dancers and rappers, since white people don't dance and they don't rap.
I don't dance or rap. And I used to be a musical comedy performer, but I can't dance.
You can't dance, not one bit. Can you do the electric slide?
No, but you know what? I did learn Shuffle Off the Buffalo, but the choreographer had to tie my legs together to teach it. But I am not kidding. Now here's another example, though. You talked about the that's cast of Hamilton, et cetera, et cetera. This is one that I'm one of the few people who can complain about. The ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, flipped out about Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
Based on one unsubstantiated charge by his ex-wife that he was anti-Semitic. They have said nothing about Keith Ellison.
Yeah.
Nothing. Silent. But it's not surprising because if you remember 2011, they actually did a campaign asking Jews not to criticize Barack Obama's anti-Israel policies because they didn't want to politicize Israel. Here's the truth. And for anybody out there who supports the ADL, okay, the Anti-Defamation League, and this is me saying it, the Jew, not Ken, okay? If you want to help give money to a pro-Jewish charity, find something else. They're not. Their number one goal is to protect the Democratic Party. And if you want to give money to the Democratic Party, give money to the Democratic Party. Because that's all the ADL is doing anyway.
Exactly.
Ever since Abe Foxman took over the group, he was the last president, the group has stopped following its mission and started being a tool of the progressive movement. And I would beg you not to give them money unless, obviously, that is your progressive. That is your politics.
Exactly. Progressives will say to you that you are anti-Semitic for making that statement.
No, I'm not.
You're not at all, and neither are you a racist. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not a racist. But we can identify someone that is blazingly, glaringly, and that certainly is Keith Ellison.
Ellison.
And the hypocrisy is just despiteful, and the revelation of that is being blinded by a movement.
And the mainstream media too is being ignored. Again, they were all over Steve Bannon. Mm-hmm. Now, I owe Steve Bannon nothing. I left Breitbart after Andrew died, so I haven't been, haven't had association with him. I don't know if he's good or bad, but I just know he's not anti-Semitic. Mm-hmm. And they were all over Steve Bannon. They still are. Someone from the Associated Press yesterday during Obama's Peru conference, he said something about, he's appointed, radical people like Steve Bannon to his administration. Well, let me tell you something. Steve Bannon, there's no proof of that he ever hated anybody. Mm-hmm. There's absolute proof that Keith Ellison is a hater.
Yes.
And not one of these media types, the mainstream media types, not the good media types like us.
Exactly.
Not one of them is attacking him. And I don't know if you heard, but President-elect Trump had a discussion with members of the media today. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he reamed them out. It was great.
Wow.
Like Jeff Zucker, he said, basically said your network is lousy, they lie about everything.
Wow. Isn't it refreshing having a president who is able to stand up and just look you dead in the eye and tell you you're a hypocrite, a liar, and a fool? And you pick whatever order you wish or any one of those three adjectives.
I think it's great that we're finally going to have a president who actually supports the troops.
Yes.
And you can't tell me, it's very interesting. If you look at the pictures, just look at the pictures of when President Bush went and met with the troops versus when Barack Obama met with the troops. When President Bush met with the troops, he served in Turkey one year, right?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And when you used to see pictures of Obama meeting the troops, there was a fence between them, and he was leaning over and shaking their hand.
Exactly.
That's the difference between supporting the troops and not supporting the troops.
Jeff,
we owe them everything. Jeff, I don't care what your rank is.
You're absolutely right, Jeff. You have a wonderful program on SHR called The Lid. You have a wonderful news media source on the internet called The Lid.
Lidblog.
Yeah.
Lidblog.com.
It's absolutely wonderful to read. You got great stuff up in there. First and foremost, why are you on SHR Media? Number one. And then number two, how can people listen to you and how can people read your materials?
Okay, read my material at lidblog.com. Real easy. Mm-hmm. SHR Media because basically Sean said yes. Did he point his ring out to you on his hand and allowed you to bow down? He's a really good guy. And actually, I was on the 405. Mm-hmm. And they stopped doing live shows during the week. So, and I can't do, I don't do shows, I won't do shows on Saturday, which is Jewish Sabbath.
Exactly.
And, I need some time for my family. So we parted company because of that. Mm-hmm. And Sean picked me up. It was great. I actually, if you go to SHR Media mm-hmm. on Tuesday at 2 p.m., on Wednesday at 2 p.m., or go to Lidblog, mm-hmm. I have a great guest this week. Lori Lowenthal Marcus, who actually was the first person to sue the IRS for their anti-Tea Party program. She sued the IRS 2 years before Lois Lerner opened her mouth. Mm-hmm. And she was discriminated against not because she was Tea Party, but because the goals of the group went against, and this was proven in court, went against Obama's Israeli policy. And the judge called it, what do you call it? He called it political stance discrimination.
Wow.
Okay, so she was the first one, she was a trailblazer in terms of the IRS. She led the group called Jews for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a conservative.
Awesome.
And it should be interesting. We're going to talk about her latest win against the IRS. The suits are still going on because the IRS is still refusing to give in.
Or shredding paper. As we speak.
Which is good because, you know what, it's getting to be winter. Mm-hmm. And it would save energy.
Yes, it would. Jeff Dunetz, ladies and gentlemen, it is an extreme honor to have him on. We will have him back in the coming weeks.
All mine. You're a good person. I really enjoy the fact that we're working together.
I love you, man, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you again.
You're black.
And even though you're a Jew, we get along like ebony and ivory.
Sing the blues.
Hey, better than I do. Jeff, we love you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Jeff Dunetz, people. I am telling you, the SHR family is growing. And I know the people from Red Nation Rising and smooches to you. I know that you're getting ready to leave if you haven't left already. God bless you all. Have a wonderful night. 2 a.m. Liberty Channel on Red Nation Rising. Catch it when you can. If you can't catch it, then you can go to SHR Media or High Place Pundit Media. You can catch the reboots of this particular show, the rebroadcast of this particular program. What a wonderful first hour talk with Jeff Dunetz, publisher of The Lid, and also The Lid Show, which will be on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Make sure that you tune to it. You don't have to listen to all 3 hours of Rush Limbaugh, people. I'm trying to get y'all out of that thinking. So, 2 o'clock, you can tune in to none other than Jeff Dunetz at SHR Media. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to do some commercial breaks. And I want to play a commercial that my friend put together and blessed me over the weekend. And I simply mean I love you, man, with all of my heart, with all of my soul. Dave Milner, the Unpleasant Blind Guy, put this together. God bless you all. Pay attention and enjoy.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
From day's first light to night's last glimmer, your satisfaction is our responsibility. On the range or in the field of duty, you can rely on Brownell's lifetime guaranteed gun parts, tools, and supplies. Anytime, any place. It's how we've done business since 1939. Brownell's.
Hi, my name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of a food restaurant, and today I'm going to walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. So we're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage. We cook here and slice it up. Our pizza whip is in-house made. Our pizza sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh and ingredient. This This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and the Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous blackened Bloviating grits, our fishing grits on the menu. And our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused beef burger. So we kick the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce. We start off with 80-20 USDA ground chuck ham patty burgers, like half a pound of burger, and we're going to grill it to perfection. Now after I flip the burger, we add the sauce and let it cook on into the meat just a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of pepper jack cheese to this burger to spice it up a bit. Order up!
6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland. If you haven't been there, get there. Martha Reeve has been there. There's a number of famous people. Even a friend of mine took the message from the show, the Exceptional Conservative Show, where you can go to theexceptionalconservativeshow.com to hear this. And she went last weekend, and actually last Thursday, and she gave it 5 stars. Ladies and gentlemen, people around the world are going to Infused Restaurant, 6339 Allentown Road, home of Derek and Christine Williams, very good friends of mine. They have the exceptional burger there, the exceptional one. Double burger, double bacon, with cheese or without, with all the fixes on it. And I'm going to see what I can do about getting one for Thursday so I can eat in front of my very good friend. Because you can only do this to a friend. Dave Milner. Ladies and gentlemen, I have some big news for you. As we only have about 2 minutes before the second hour of the program, in which BZ, Sir Mark, the Bloviating Zeppelin, joins us. I have big news for you. I'm humbly accepting this. BZ, I'm gonna get you back for that one. Yes, of course it's a double burger. It has to be. Has to be. I humbly accept the fact that we are the #2 show on SHR Media behind Sackheads Radio Wednesday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We happen to be #2 behind them. And it's a great honor to have the second at-bat on the network behind Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint. They freed Sacco and captured BZ. So, unfortunately, BZ is being held hostage, and we got to free him too. But in order for us to grow as a network, because internet radio is the wave, it's the future, it's here. I really believe with all of my heart that terrestrial stations will pass away. People are getting away from the brick and mortar. They want digital. They want the cloud. They want information on the highway that doesn't skirt off on the side passages. And so people are turning to internet radio like never before. And we happen to be one of the crown jewels of SHR Media. We come on between 9 and 11 p.m. And to be #2 on the network at this particular hour says a whole lot about the faith that Sean had in me and Clint as well, and SHR Media and the Exceptional Conservative Show, and how you all are responding and reacting. So I really appreciate that with all of my heart, mind, soul, and strength. But I also know that in order for us to be a truly great network, and I know I've gone over, I know I'm not supposed to be at this hour, I'm supposed to take a 5-minute here or whatever, but I need to say this to you, and then I'll catch up with BZ in just a moment. We have made a commitment in 2017, coming off 2.2 million people listening to us on election night, coming off the fact that we had some of the greatest music stars, even had Dr. Patch Adams on the air with us before that time. We've had a lot of listeners tune in to this particular program, but we are one of many crown jewels. Weaver of Common Sense, Jersey Joe, does an extremely wonderful job from 11 to 1 during the midday hours, where it counts and holds people captive, some digressing from Rush Limbaugh, and others from some of the other mighty warriors of conservative talk. And he does a tremendous job. And despite his humility, he is a great salesman and a great commentator on the issues of this particular day. And then he's backed up by none other than our great friend Dave Milner at 1 p.m. from 1 to 2. Dave Milner, the unpleasant blind guy, holds the fort down. So there are two crown jewels that are in the crown called SHR, Sackheads Radio. But we've made a commitment to make us the #1 network, period. In the words of the great Negro GOP Vice Chairman of DC, end of story. Ralph Chittips, of course. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to announce to you something big and something very special. In order for a network to be truly successful, you have to have, and I'm going to forego some commercials here, don't tell the professor. In order to be a tremendous network, you have to hold down certain hours in competition against terrestrial powers that be. Like here in Washington, D.C., WMAL is the #1 conservative talk show in the city. You have to listen to WGTS for the Christian portion, which is #1 in the city. And WAVA, WAVA, is also the #1 for its biblical study. So those are tops in the mantras that we compete against on a nightly basis here in Washington, D.C., or forgive me, on a daily basis in Washington, D.C. I believe that Jersey Joe and Dave can kick their butts on any given day. And so we need to be #1, and we're going to press our mark to become #1 in the marketplace in Washington, D.C., in New York, in Chicago, in L.A., in Dallas, in Atlanta, in Charlotte, in Baltimore. That's our commitment. We're going to do our very best to make sure that Jersey Joe is the #1 show and competitive against Rush Limbaugh in 2017. We'll do whatever we can, along with Dave, between the hours of 11 and 2 o'clock. That's one of the crown jewels. The Exceptional Conservative Show is one of the startling late-night jewels in the country, if not the world. It's an urban conservative talk show that has on average anywhere between 50 and 75,000 listeners a night, and then you have to include podcasts and things of that nature. We have had since April of this year over 216,000 visits to our website. Now, why is that important? That's just between April and November. I want you to know that there's some radio stations around the country that are powerful radio stations that haven't had more than about 10,000 hits at their website in 4 or 5 years. We are very strong and we're very competitive. We'll go up against anybody, and I will kick their butts any single night. That includes many of my peer group as well. Am I being arrogant? No. What I am being is very honest with you. I want to be the very best, and I'm going to fight to be the very best, because I need to make certain that you get the truth, not only in Christ, but in capitalism, conservatism, and constitutionalism. And that's going to be done on every single night. So that's 2 crown jewels. Well, kind of 3, but the hours of 11 to 2 are big, and 2 men occupy that. And the hours of the late night are very important, and I occupy that. So what's missing? Well, in order for us to truly take away the crown, we have to have a very strong morning team, and we have to have a strong drive time afternoon team. And so I've been in communications and in negotiations with several big hitters. And while they're not Michael Savage on High Plains Pundit Media, I think after a few weeks of grooming, they'll be very competitive. I want to announce to everyone tonight, and as Sean's listening and everyone else is tuning in and listening, I'm announcing to you tonight that on Monday, December the 12th, 2016, we will have a new morning drive time show on the network Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and it will be live. Absolutely live and in charge. So starting on Monday, December 12th, 2016, from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., we will have 2 superstars on our network. You may know her as a young woman who decided to take on the establishment in her city and the lethargy of its people. She got up one morning, she gave me a call, and she said, "Ken, I'm going to run for office." I said, "Where are you going to run?" She said, "Baltimore." She ran for office with my support and encouragement, and she won her primary. And she beat her establishment opponent. And then she went into the general election, and she got 10 times more votes than any Republican has received in over 70 years. The woman that will be taking the mantle, along with one of her most prestigious and loving supporters, a tremendous author, writer, and speaker. The Mike and Shannon Show will take place on Monday, December 12th, 2016 at 7 a.m. We will kick that off with Mike and Shannon. The Mike and Shannon Show. So get ready for that one. It's going to be huge, in the words of the great Negro, President Donald J. Trump. And so who's holding down the fort between 4 and 6 p.m.? Well, this man has worked hard across the country, at least one of them, to make certain that quote-unquote minority conservatives had the encouragement to do the right thing and run for office. He's blazed great travails and opportunities and roadways for people to accomplish the end of winning elections. He's been very successful in recruiting some great candidates. We know him lovingly as the Kraken. Ralph J. Chitums Sr. will be joining none other than the most handsome man in radio. Yes, Lonnie Poindexter, who is fabulous in terms of his midday drive time program, the Lion Chaser radio program, part of the AFA Urban Family Talk Network. They will be joining SHR Network as a combo team from 4 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, starting Monday, December 12th, 2017. I'm going to tell you without a doubt that I am more excited than ever before. I have great confidence and great faith in Sean Lewis as the leader of SHR Media. And I appreciate the great confidence and faith that he has in me. And ladies and gentlemen, while we now have 5 crown jewels when you include late night Wednesday night, Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, and BZ, we're not finished yet. But I will guarantee you one thing. When people say SHR in 2017, they will go, wow. Thank y'all so much for listening. We will be back right after these messages with none other than my very good friend, Sir Mark, the Bloviating Zeppelin, the only person who defends me on Wednesday night on Sackheads Radio at 11 p.m. Thank God for friends. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in and listening. We'll be right back right after these beloved messages. Peace.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe, a reamer of common sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on SHRmedia.com. It's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, SHRmedia.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Thunder Press, Live, Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy, because the truth is not always pleasant.
Welcome to Lion Chasers, where faith and public policy intersect. And now, your Lion Chaser with a good fight of faith, Lonnie Poindexter, on Urban Family Talk.
We're not saying that there's not instances where there's maybe racial injustice somewhere. This is America, and people are human, and we're sitting here. He's the president of first. He's the first president to say that America is not a Christian nation anymore. But you know, we pray for our enemies while we defeat them.
You can't blame folks from this Mississippi. There has not been an elected Republican in California for Michigan in 60 years.
And the co-captain's chair with me today, Reverend Ralph Chittins. What's happening is the social justice movement has now been hijacked by a godless movement. Don't be bamboozled. Ladies and gentlemen, Frederick Douglass was a conservative. It's not a black or white issue. It's a God versus anti-God issue. I know those would say, well, it's all rigged. It's all a game, Lonnie. I try to get that a lot. And more of the crew that has their bags packed at the train station waiting for Jesus to come back. I'll be here in a minute. No train, no wasn't Jesus. But he's coming. Meanwhile, Roland's Bowling, the host of the Black Man Thinking radio show. Welcome to the show, Stanley Megan. Good morning, Ronnie. How are you? The core issues, the great elephants are in the home. We got to deal with the entitlement programs and the things that hamstring us.
And that's where the conservative viewpoints really resonate for my generation.
I'm going to welcome to the show the host of the Exceptional Conservative Show, and that's Brother Kenneth from Clinton. Welcome, brother.
Ronnie, it's an honor and privilege always to be with you. Ever-expanding audience.
Let your listeners do Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter. If Lion Chasers sounds right for your station or network, contact Will Addison by email, waddison@afa.net. Encourage your listeners to be Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter and Urban Family Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more of the best in Urban Family Talk.
Yesterday, you went on the air. We're talking about your fake prize and sunglasses. Yes. Scary called me in a panic last night. I went on the air and I called them fake. They're not fake. They're real. We're gonna get sued. Really, they're real? What's the name of the company you ordered them from? I bought it from a company called EZ. That's the letter E, the letter Z. Contacts USA. So he goes on the air and says, EZ Contacts. They're a scam. I know them. No research. And then look into. I'm like, you're being a little reckless. Yeah. Even though I don't know if those are real Prada glasses or not. But he went on the air and said that it is. I listened to 60 Minutes. Scary jokes. We don't know. We didn't investigate. I'm sure they're a scam. Well, I got them for $150 lower than you can normally. But are they a scam? They're not. I looked into it. I researched it in full. I am holding legit, real Prada sunglasses. Really? I'd like to issue an apology. I just want to say, of course, we got a call from the company. From the owner. Yeah. They had lost orders yesterday because of what Scary said. Yeah. They should make you pay what they lost yesterday. How much was that total? I don't even know. At the end of the day, it's like it's almost one of those too good to be true things. Yeah, it is true. So you did your research? I did my research. I did my homework. At the end of the day, he contacts USA. They actually sell real, legitimate stuff. You have to great prices. At great prices. Can you imagine last night? I'm getting ready to eat dinner. I get a phone call from Scary. He's like, hey, you got 2 minutes? And I just said, okay. Was it 2 minutes? 25 minutes later, I'm like, all right, Scary, that sounds great, man. Hey. Yeah, thank you. All right, I'll let you go. Until tomorrow. Everything worked out. All right, thank you, Scary. So Scary...
Could have been last season. You know, sometimes they do that. Absolutely never.
Scary accused them of the company of being a fraud, and they're not. And that was very reckless of Scary.
Really was.
Yes, Robbie. Scary's going to turn this around at some point before it's over. He'll go, I was doing them a favor. See, at first I said it wasn't real. Now it is real. More people are going to buy from them. I do the homework, dude. They're real. At the end of the day, if you want to take your underwear, Gary, if you give me one more time, I swear to God, you're fired. I'm going to kick you in the ball. But, I'm glad the owner did hear you. They do listen. Yeah. And I'm glad they heard you and they corrected you, because that's very reckless to go in there and say someone's a fraud.
But I'm excited to find out that you can get really cheap sunglasses. Yeah, me too.
What's that website again?
I don't want you to kick me in the ball.
Scary, one more time. It's the letter E. If you do it anymore, we're going to send you a bill. The letter E, the letter Z, contacts USA. Okay. .com. Okay, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you an announcement because Easy Contacts got in contact with me today. And I'm very appreciative of the fact that they keep me abreast of how they offer individuals who listen to the Exceptional Conservative Show such great deals regarding glasses and eyewear. Because you can tell if you're watching via Ustream or Livestream, yours truly, the Exceptional One, does wear eyewear. I'm not as bold and relentless and just wonderful as my daughter. She is so precious and so unfearful that she's willing to try contacts and put those in her eye. And I just can't put my finger in my eye. Something about that just, nah, that's okay. Fingers don't belong in the eye. But I want to make it very clear to you that the great people at Easy Contacts get in contact with me, and they do so on a weekly basis, but they wanted to do something very special for the Exceptional Conservative Show audience. And I just want to thank the leader of the affiliate group that works with us, making this offer available to you. So I just want to put in the chat roll, for those of you who are following along at home, that there is a very special offer this week. Okay? Very special offer. Nice. I am telling you, you all are going to be very, very excited when you hear this. There is a 1-week offer, free prescription sunglasses on your next purchase of sunglasses. That's right. You don't have to pay for the prescription lenses. They're free. Now, I want y'all to know, I know a lot of people are excited. What did you say? Yes, the prescription drug lenses are free but it's only for a very limited time. For those who are tuned into the Exceptional Conservative Show, I will say it every day this week. For those who will be tuning in and listening to our program, and you can easily find easy contacts on my website. You can click there, and most certainly, without a shadow of a doubt, order your glasses. Yes, absolutely free. Not the glass, not the total. Let me take that back. For 1 week only, free prescription sun lenses on your next sunglass purchase. Free prescription sun lenses on your next sunglass purchase. Now I'm going to put the link in. If you're in the marketplace for making certain that you want your sunglasses and you want them to have prescription lenses in them, just click on that website, and when you do, you will be able to order this week only, November 21st to November 27th, 1 week only, free prescription sun lenses on your sunglass purchase. So there you go. Let me go ahead. I need to put that over there, right there. See, I'm telling you, this has been a very big announcement evening. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just absolutely, positively wonderful. And let me put that in there. 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, there you go. So I'm going to put that in there. So for those of you who will follow along at home, if you just go to the website, Ken McClenton, and I'll put it in the Facebook site and a few other places tonight. Wow. I tell you, this show is getting really good. I mean, really, really good. People want to do stuff for this show. I like that. I like that a lot. I like that. I like it a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, this young man has been waiting for me to call him as I've been making all of these particular announcements and things of that particular nature. He has been a very good friend to me. He is the only person who defends me on none other than Sackhead's Radio Night, which is Wednesday nights. And I love him for it. He is none other than Sir Mark, the Bloviating Zeppelin of the Bloviatingzeppelin.net. And also, Ken is having a baby. No, that's not an announcement I'm making. My wife would kill me.
Hello?
Hello? Good evening, sir. Thank you for your patience with all the announcements and stuff.
Well, talk about some grand announcements. What a great deal. And now Ken McClenton, the exceptional one, on SHR Media, officially, and all these other people coming in. It's going to be a grand time and a wonderful announcement it is, Ken.
Well, thank you, sir. And I really appreciate the way you uphold my mantle on Wednesday nights at SHR Media's primetime superstar line-up show, Sackheads Radio. Only you defend me.
Unfortunately, I'm the only one there that'll stand up for you, as I think you probably pretty well know.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, I believe that Clint has been corrupted by the racist tendencies of Sean Lewis. So, I can only depend on you.
Well, thank you very much. Sir, I live to serve.
2/3 of the time. Mark.
Well, that was great news. It's going to be a great media network. Everybody, of course, is going to continue listening to you because you are, in fact, and I should emphasize, underline, and bold and italic, the exceptional conservative. There's only one, and it's, quite frankly, you.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. And check is not in the mail, but I made Rick a stamp and put it there. So
very kind.
Now, you have written a lot of good stuff over the past week, but I wanted to get your opinion on how the media, and I love the nude picture of Angela Merkel. Beautiful picture, I tell you.
What they say about is fair play. If they think that it's going to be fun for the media to put up a nude picture of
Ivanka
Trump, then turnabout is only fair play because that also gives you insight into a background. Well,
yes, it does.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Insight.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing better than the Bloviating Zeppelin. If you really want, in the lid with Jeff Dunetz, but if you really want that information, and I want you to know that I have ordered the bleach for my eyes from Easy Contacts. So it's being delivered.
Excellent.
It was good to see that the blinds matched the drapes.
Wow. You went somewhere I didn't expect you to go. But having said that, yes, you're absolutely correct.
Angela, it's Angela. When you're not the chancellor, it's Angela. When you are the chancellor, it's Angela Merkel. Apparently was a naturalist. How did a naturalist become chancellor, prime minister of the great Republic of Germany?
Well, she got involved in politics, and she has sort of an interesting background. Her background, when you hear the word sort of right-wing or middle of the road in Germany, or hell, much of Europe, frequently it doesn't mean the same thing that it means over here. It means that they're middle of the road and then left all the way to the hardest port steering you could possibly make. So some of the labels for the parties in Germany and the UK, for that matter, you have to be a little bit cautious. But make no mistake, she's a leftist and she's running for her fourth term. They don't have.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's a picture joke.
Pretty much.
Let me just say that they had dining village razors at the time of her youth. Just saying.
No one was really mentioning anything about the country of Brazil either.
Long before Brazil. Oh, gee. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I have to say, I did not expect to go here, but it's interesting the voyage that you're taking.
Well, thank you, sir. I'm an avid steward of conservation, and I appreciate when individuals are participating in environmentally sensitive items, such as walking as a naturalist at the beach. I think that is certainly, and as a fellow conservative, I'm quite certain that you think the very same way, that it's very earnest for individuals to be out there at the nudist beach practicing conservation. Due diligence, right?
Well, it's very interesting because the exact same thing that's occurring here in the United States, in other words, we all know that there's massive pushback on the left here in the United States, and it's occurring again in the EU and Germany and also the UK. The repudiation of what happened and the policies of the left clearly occurred in terms of Brexit and clearly occurred in terms of what's been happening in the EU countries as well. So she's doubling down on this is the time to elect me more than ever, when there's a groundswell of persons believing that the exact opposite. Now is the perfect time for you to get your arse out of Berlin and move it somewhere else. She's there to defend what she thinks are threatened values. Well, yes, they are being threatened, but only from the elitist left. And it's occurring there in Germany, it's occurring in the UK, and it's occurring here in the United States as well. After the election of Trump, everything, and I mean everything, just about turned upside down.
But BZ, you know that she was only looking out for the good of Germany. You have to understand that she saw 1 million people who happen to be between the ages of 18 and 25 and male was not an invasion. It was reaching out, kumbaya, creating employment for the masses.
Well, I'll tell you what, oddly enough, I don't think you're that far off. I do honestly think that the policies and what she's doing and the people that are lining up behind her, I don't know all of them, but I would say that certainly with regard to her, she comes from a family of religious individuals, shall we say. And I firmly believe in all my reading that she's attempting to make Germany atone for World War II. But unfortunately, she's inculcated philosophically to the point where she cannot see the results of what she's doing. And it doesn't just affect Germany, because she pretty much opened the doors in Germany, and she forgot that between Syria and Germany, there are a lot of other host countries and a lot of water intervening, where all those people who wanted to come to Germany are going to have to go right through all these other countries to get there, and some may stay in the interim. And that's what is occurring right now. The pushback that occurred with Brexit it's starting to move. It's creating its own momentum with the EDL and other movements, not unlike them. And it's time, as far as they're concerned, on the left, Merkel and the various forces that are rallying around her, that she absolutely needs to push back. She feels compelled to double down because it's threatening her philosophy and her policies.
Yeah,
and
her career.
Struggles in Europe and internationally for our values and our interests, and simply put, for our way of life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, her way of life, perhaps, but what about the people that are funding all of that? Where is all this? See, fundamentally, the thing that no one asks is, where are we going to get the money for this, the funding for this?
Yep.
And what kind of stress is it putting on not just the infrastructure, but the persons themselves, when you're essentially importing a culture that on its own, many times, is fundamentally in conflict with Western values? You seem to think, leftists, that all of these people that are coming in, and quite frankly, they are Muslim, they're about 98 to 99% Muslim, less than 1% are Christian, and those stats are already out there. It's true in the EU. And so, if you're reading, if you're open, if you're knowledgeable, you know what kind of a conflict that's going to create, and therefore you should not be shocked when you have people peeing in pools, pooping in pools, raping women, and treating women like cattle. The clash of civilizations that she's brought upon not only Germany, but all around Europe is cataclysmic. If for no other reason than you're forcing yourself and all the other taxpayers and all the other countries to pick up the fiscal burden.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't let them know. She didn't say anything. There was no fix from Brussels, say, where the EU, the unelected members of the EU Council sit. No one sat and arranged and said, well, let's just put aside some of these funds because we're going to plan to invite these people in. There was no planning. That was her simply opening the borders and let people come on in. But of course, your borders have already been eliminated with regard to the EU, so you don't really need a passport anymore like you used to transport yourself from one country to the other. It's a massive problem. It's getting larger. It's rolling like a massive snowball down a hill, and it's going to have grave consequences.
Yeah.
In the immediate future. Well, it's already having grave consequences right now. some people are to the point where they're saying that it may in fact be the doom of Germany and Europe. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but once you have all those particular people in there, I don't know how you're going to put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, how do you get rid of those? I'm sorry. How do you encourage people to leave Germany and go back through Turkey, back to Syria? When you look at Aleppo and you look at Damascus, and there are no homes left. There are no roads. There's nothing in Syria anymore. Really, they just basically bombed Syria up.
Well, the Western countries have missed their chance. They possibly could go in now and do something about it, but Obama's missed his chance to work with Putin and decide that perhaps they could build infrastructure within Syria. Now there's a massive problem with Putin and with the United States regarding Syria. So I'm not sure that can be fixed that way internally. At one point, people were thinking, well, if we just build more camps, etc., in Syria, we might be able to avert even a further crisis. I'm not so sure that tipping point hasn't already been reached.
Yeah. And we had Anonymous on last week, which was our biggest show last week. It was Tuesday night. And he was giving us insights from Germany of what the media isn't playing for us. The leftist yellow journalists aren't writing for us or digitally providing for us, is that there seems to be a revolt in Germany from the right. And it's not for those of you down low listeners, the right in Germany is like the right here, and I'm not talking about anti-Semitic, racist, anything of that particular nature, try to put you back on the plantation fields. They, my friends, are upset, and they want what's her name's head, Merkel's head, on a platter at this particular juncture. They are revolting against those who have raped their daughters. They're revolting against a government that's protecting individuals in Germany who are attempting to pervert the law by Sharia. They are angry and they want results. Angela Merkel may not be prime minister next year.
The rape and assault crimes, the statistics have absolutely skyrocketed in most every European country. Sweden doesn't know how to handle it. Here's something that recently came out of the EU, out of Brussels. The EU orders UK press not to report when terrorists are Muslims. Well, it's not just in the UK. The European Union is bent on keeping the people of Britain and continental Europe ignorant and complacent in the face of this massive wave of advancing jihad. The globalist agenda of erasing all distinctions between nation states. As far as the leftists are concerned, that has to be pursued even to the point of civilizational suicide and continental-wide violence all through the EU. It's not just the UK, but it's all of the EU because they're also interwoven now. Edith Mahmoud of the Gatestone Institute on November 18th wrote, "The European Union orders British press not to report when terrorists are Muslims, according to European Commission Against Racism and Intolerance, ECRI, part of the Council of Europe. The British press is to blame for increasing hate speech and racist violence. On October 4th, the ECRI released a report dedicated only to Britain, and the report said some traditional media, particularly tabloids, are responsible for most of the offensive, discriminatory, and provocative terminology. The Sun, for example, published an article entitled "Rescue Boats Use Gunships to Stop Migrants," and the columnist likened migrants to cockroaches, to which I reply, unfortunately, the shoe fits, and there's only one cabal of persons responsible for placing their own citizens in the pathway of these crosshairs from a flood of people that are not particularly interested in getting into the society itself. is there just one basic question for you, because the EU is not so far apart from us. We know that technology is the future, and the problem the United States has with Mexico and the veritable flood from Mexico is the fact that the people that are coming in here are not technologically versed. The same can be said for Syria. So at a time when everyone is saying, and people of the EU, they're no different, they're saying the same thing as well, we need people who are going to be doing all the jobs that folks of the US and folks of the EU don't want to do. Because is that not, Ken, the standard rallying cry that we hear for the importation of Syrians and people from Mexico? We hear that.
Exactly.
The problem with that is that the small entry-level jobs are being mechanized, and they're being mechanized for a grand number of reasons. It should come as absolutely no shock that when you walk into a restaurant, you're getting more automation. Fast food restaurants are starting to display kiosks where you order for yourself. There are machines that shake fruit from trees and then gather it up, because in the long run it's cheaper. So importing tons of people that are essentially unskilled workers into an environment that more and more demands a massive amount of technological prowess, that's just a recipe for disaster, Ken.
Yes, exactly. It's amazing that they were able to get away with this for 7 years under the Barack Obama regime, the globalists who decided that one border is too many borders. Just like one gun owned by a American citizen is illegally owned by an American citizen is one gun too many. You know, this same group of individuals who seek to starve Israel of statehood is the same individual group of people that cannot tell the truth and admit that the Palestinians and the Syrians could have gone to any one of the 41 participating Muslim or Mohammedan nations to stay, but they were not welcome. And they were not welcome because everyone knows what they are. They are terrorists, and they don't want those people in their communities.
Well, you have to go back into the history. It's a constant clash of Sunni versus Shia. And when you invite Muslims in, that clash comes with it inherently. Mm-hmm. But the other interesting effect out of all of this locally in the United States, for example, is, you know, Obama's his amnesty plan was reversed by a federal court. And Obama has decided that, well, there's not much that he can do about that anymore because he was reversed. Except he did this. Basically, he told DHS, Jay Johnson, that let's just leave some things open. A DHS agent was told by the end of the month, we've been instructed we're not covering some of the most open and known smuggling routes anymore.
Wow.
The active smuggling route at the U.S. southern border with Mexico is going to be largely abandoned by the government at the end of the month. That's what an agent with the U.S. Border Patrol route has told. The S2 route that is basically runs along a 2-lane county road through a very remote area, and more than 900 illegal immigrants, they were apprehended around that. Now you're getting 500 people a day that are coming in through there. So Obama has decided if you can't get it through the courts, I'll just tell people on the down low, remove your agents from these particular areas, and the agents, being the Indians that they are, not the chiefs, have to do what they're told.
Wow.
This is all about to get changed, and the left does not understand. Angela Merkel does not understand. The American media maggots don't understand. Brussels doesn't understand that people have had enough. It's enough. If for no other reason than the budgetary issue, the infrastructure issue, how unfair is it to any town or city to be told you will be taking X number of particular people, we don't care how it gets done, you're going to do it, and by the way, there's no additional federal funding coming for you. that's on your shoulders. And if you don't do it, there's a good chance our AG may decide to do something legally to your tan.
Wow.
I think that's about to change.
I'm praying so. And when we come back from the break, the final break of our program tonight, I want to talk with you about Jeff Sessions. And we spent earlier a large amount of time talking with Jeff Dunetz about the title of racist and anti-Semite attached to Steve Bannon. I want to talk with you about Jeff Sessions and why the appointment of Jeff Sessions is so important to turning this country around. You are listening tonight to Sir Mark, the Bloviating Zeppelin from Bloviatingzeppelin.net, and the exceptional one, Ken McClinton, live for the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, but it is the power of liberation. First to the Republican, and then the Socialist. We'll be right back with the final commercials of the evening.
Hey everybody, it's Kristen. I'm here to review women's spirits made by dogs. I love these shoes. I am an FM sufferer, so finding shoes that don't make my feet hurt is very tough. These don't make my feet hurt. I've tried Pumas, I've tried Nikes. Nikes are pretty good. Pumas I can't wear. They hurt my feet too much. I mean, it's to the point to where my feet hurt so bad to where I can't even walk. So I was so happy whenever I was contacted to review the new dogs. I love these dogs. I love these things. My feet don't hurt when I wear them. They got the holes in them to keep my feet cool. They got massaging bumpies inside. Feels like you're walking on little things of foam. I mean, like, it's just awesome. I just love it. The heel is a deep well down in your heel, and it protects. It's a shock absorber. So if you're running in them or jumping in them, like if you're on a trail, you have to jump in them. It absorbs the shock. What else? And then it's a higher thing back here for your heel. So it's like a really high thing that protects your ankle from when you're running, so there's no injuries, so it doesn't cause injuries. It's Velcro, so it's very easy to tighten your shoe, so whenever you're running, your shoe won't fall off when you're trying to run. I love these shoes, and I hope you guys really appreciate this review, and there will be pictures at the end, like always. But I wish you guys go check them out. They're only, these women's spirits are $40. There's a whole bunch of other kind of shoes that you can purchase as well. There are children's shoes, toddler shoes, infant shoes, men's shoes, women's shoes. Anything you can think of, they got it. And they're pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you next time.
Now, for our minerals, we only have only one shop to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. Given how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more. What you say? Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
In tribute to Barack Hussein Obama.
Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more. Oh, woman, don't treat me so mean. You're the meanest old woman that I've ever seen. I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go. That's right, hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more. What you say? Hit the road, Jack.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the commercial-free period of the Exceptional Conservative Show, live for the nation's capital. We have the great pleasure of talking with none other than our beloved friend, Sir Mark the Bloviating Zeppelin. Mark is one of the greatest writers in American history. I'm going to put that out there. Yeah. And the reason I say that is because of what he writes at the Bloviating Zeppelin. I know you haven't had the opportunity to find the Bloviating Zeppelin, but this week he has a special. He has a 1-900 number attached to the picture of Angela Merkel. And when you press the picture, you can call the number direct. So it's 1-900 whatever. I just want to let y'all know that. And it's $5.99 for the first minute, 99 cents thereafter for every minute. Thank you, sir, for being on the program with us tonight.
And I will, as we agreed upon, I will split the profits with you.
Don't say that. My wife is listening.
What profit?
What profit? Honey, I wasn't involved with that 1-900 number to Angela Merkel.
Say that?
Jeff Sessions, sir. America's favorite racist. Right up there with none other than Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Lyndon Baines Johnson. Your thoughts?
Jeff Sessions, if I can be so blunt, scares the living shite out of the left. Because essentially what he's saying that he'll do if installed as AG is do all of the things that the two attorney generals under Barack Obama refused to do. And that's uphold the rule of law. And that scares them pantsless, essentially. And the left-wing media has been beating its breast all day, today, yesterday, the day before, about the installation of Jeff Sessions. He's a racist this, he's a racist that. Well, that all began in 1986 when Reagan decided that he was going to nominate Sessions to the federal bench.
Mm-hmm.
If you read anything about him, one of the first things you find out is that he's a very smart individual and he's absolutely devoted to the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah.
A clue is when the American Bar Association says that you're qualified for a post. The ABA is not necessarily known in any way, shape, or form as a right-wing organ whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And then he got balked by Senator Edward Kennedy. He's, of course, the person who decided that it was a good idea to leave Mary Jo Kopechne to die in her watery grave on Chappaquiddick.
Well, to be honest, he did not know she couldn't swim.
Well, okay, all right.
We'll go with that.
So I think what the Democrats did is they said that he's got a Southern accent, and they begin to call him Secessions instead of Sessions. So with basically the flimsiest of accusations and a lot of innuendo, which is what leftists do, from suspect testimony, Sessions was smeared in the press. He was accused of massive racist prejudice against blacks.
Yeah.
He was going to shred the Constitution, pervert justice, advance this weird and twisted sort of worldview. He got called by Kennedy a throwback to a terrible, shameful era. He never saw it coming, and he got blindsided, and it was balked. And that's where basically the dog whistle of racism was born, where it came from. But here's what they're afraid of. He was a prosecutor, a very firm Justice Department prosecutor for 15 years, mm-hmm. And it's no secret that he has a whole bunch of gripes at how the Obama administration has run his whole department, from its breathtaking stance on immigration to its shameful refusal to defend a federal ban on gay marriage. And he calls it his Department of Justice. So basically, if he's confirmed, it's probably going to be him who's considered one of the most conservative members who will push for, and I'm sure he's going to push for wholesale changes, which is exactly what we need. And I think hardline stances on crime, drugs, immigration, terrorism, guns,
and voting rights.
The leftists are all thinking that he's going to wipe away all their progress in civil rights, changes in sentencing, police accountability. Oh, right, police accountability. The 4 officers that were shot over the past weekend, 2 were killed, all in ambushes. Oh, that's right, that police accountability.
A congressman's grandson was shot and killed in his home on Friday over tennis shoes. And the question put towards the congressman was, what could have changed all of this? Now, apparently there was no protection in the household for the family. There was no gun of protection, no baseball bat, nothing of that nature. Apparently the individual came into the home to steal the young man's tennis shoes, and shot and killed him. And the congressman said the thing that needs to change in Chicago, a city in which every 1 minute and 58 seconds a person is shot, and every 11 minutes and 6 seconds a person dies. What has to happen there is that we need more recreation centers, we need more government programs to create jobs, we need a host of ideological liberal retorts and responses. And then finally, parents need to care a little bit more about their kids. Have we just seen a point in America where we're just repudiating the left and would like to just knock them out completely, get rid of the key, because we're sick of their retorts?
Well, I think what we're seeing, I'm afraid I have to say this, and I don't really want it to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I fear it is. The hate and discontent that's going on these days, unfortunately, Ken, I think this is going to be the new normal. And the reason I say that is because I think it's pretty clear that even though a lot of the policies and thoughts and philosophies of leftists were repudiated in the vote, and across the pond in the EU also repudiated with Brexit, Italy maybe next. They're thinking about going out, and a lot of other countries, all the other countries in the EU, the westernized countries in the EU, are having terrible times trying to figure out how they're going to deal with all of these massive problems. But the left is not learning any lesson from this at all, because it's all about the philosophy, and they don't have, I don't believe they have the capability for self-examination or introspection. Merkel is doubling down. She needs to go back to right the wrongs.
And she won't do it.
It's the same thing in D.C. Everyone in D.C., people on the left, the folks that were meeting, Pelosi, the DNC, that were meeting recently with George Soros to figure out the plan for the future, they're not learning their lesson. As far as they are concerned, they simply have to double down with doing the exact same thing that they've always done. And is that not, Ken, have we not heard a phrase similar to, that's the definition of insanity?
Yes.
Well, let's try it a different way for a while. Let's see if Trump can do anything about this. Trump wasn't my guy, but I'll tell you one thing, the more they pushed on Trump, the more I decided that I was going to vote for him. Until he created Trump, and Trump's support is continued by people that are pushing back against him and those that still pay taxes. So we know that the left is not going to stop pushing. And because of that, you're boxing people into a corner.
Yep.
You're going to continue to box people into a corner. They're not going to let up. All the violence, the vile rhetoric is not on the right. It's on the left. The more they keep pushing, it's headed for a break. I fear this is the new normal.
Listen, every Monday night, except for tonight, at 10:05, we bring on BZ. And I want to thank you all so much for listening to this segment of the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. BZ, tell them where they can read some of the greatest writing in American history.
And, you are ever so kind.
And actually, why you have told me that you are the best host on Sackheads Radio Night.
Because I knew that I couldn't escape today without having you make a comment like that. It's going to get me in even more trouble than I am. I'm on Twitter at BZEP, B-Z-E-P, and my piece of the blogosphere is at bloviatingzeppelin.net. Thank you, sir.
My friend, my great friend, my Freedom Fest friend, BZ, the Bloviating Zeppelin, Sir Mark, we love you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we're running out of time, and I've got to tell you, because Sean is a hard taskmaster when it comes to time on his network. If you don't remember anything that we said tonight, I want you to remember this. God bless America. Now it's time for America to bless God. We'll see you tomorrow night with Dr. Bill Warner, Political Islam. We're going to go loud, proud, and in charge. We're going to fight against the good fight. Well, actually, we're going to fight the good fight against the bad fight. Or however way. Just remember this one last thing. God bless America. Now America bless God. We'll see you tomorrow night. Peace. Good night, BZ.
It's a long time to be with the one you love. And I hope it. And I'm come on, baby. I won't be the one now. You know what I'm thinking of. I'm in my time. It's a good time to be the one you love. I said to be the one you love. You're my baby. And the dark. You're in my father. The people down. And I'm coming. I want you to hold my hand. Yeah, try as you can. On a night time. It's the night time. You know I think